Okay, so sorry about not getting an episode out to y'all last week. I was on vacation down in Florida, had a really great time, first off, but also I forgot to record something the week before. I knew I was supposed to do it, but I had just completely forgotten that I was supposed to do it right at the end of the week. So this is why we have been led to this moment right here where I've had a week off, and now I'm ready to get back to Titans content creation. So, anyway, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I am your host, Micah McCamey, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to be talking about how the Tennessee Titans are dealing with Cam Ward so far. Obviously, you saw that by the title. And we're also going to talk about this controversy that has hit the Titans fan base as of recent. If you know, you know. You probably already know what it is if you're watching my podcast, but basically, Titans Twitter is all up in a fit about some things. They're divided in a fit up some things. There's one side that's on this side of the aisle, another side is on this side of the aisle. Honestly, it's not as bad as the Devondre Sweat division was, but it's still like about as meh. Like it's about it. Like it's the closest thing that I can compare this to, which honestly is ridiculous. And they were both started by the same dude. Go figure. But anyway, let's get into today's episode, and we are going to start out with that controversy, and this is what I would like to call the OTA controversy. Okay, well, rookie minicamp controversy technically, but this is like a really strong controversy where, somebody pointed out on Titans Twitter, I won't name him, but you probably know by what I said right at the beginning, but this dude points out, we're seeing all these videos of the Titans, playing games and, doing all this, like, stuff that's, like, really fun and whatever. And then it's just like, he's just like, but it's not a good sign for Cali because we aren't doing 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. We're treating it more like a job. I can't remember the term, but if you've heard about it, you probably know what the term I'm searching for is. But like they're treating it more like a fun mini camp than like trying to learn the actual basis of the Titans system and all this stuff. And this dude was up in a fury about it. There were a couple of people that joined his side, but then there were also other people on the other side of the aisle that really just absolutely hated this take and loved the fact that we were doing these fun games and stuff because they feel like it builds culture and they feel like it does this like amazing thing for the Titans culture, because obviously it was probably a little broken after last year. So we need to start doing some stuff to unite the team again and to rebuild that culture that was broken down by Will Levis's Flick 6. Yes, I still believe that the culture would have actually been pretty strong if it wasn't for that moment right there. But anyway, we're getting into a different subject for a different time. Yes, I will be making a what if video about that in the summer. But anyway, oh, man. Yeah, so here's the thing, right? I don't like to take sides on these situations. Like, usually, like, even last year with the Devondre Sweat thing, I stayed completely neutral on it. Like, I didn't really take a side because there was part of me that was just like, oh, yeah, he could be really good, but I do see some of the flaws. Okay, this one, I'm completely on the side of the people that are saying that this is ridiculous. Calling the training camp, OTA, rookie minicamp, whatever you want to call it, too easy is absolutely ridiculous based off of a couple of clips posted on social media. Like that is absolutely that even sounds worse coming out of my mouth than it did even in my head. Like, look, there's more stuff that they're doing that we don't get to see, right? Because yes, okay, Titans media team is not amazing whenever it comes to that stuff. I will not deny that whatsoever. But that also means that we cannot. This dude's also been complaining about the Titans media team and how they don't give that much coverage to to what actually happens in practice. So this dude said that, but then also decided to go back on that and be like, oh yeah, the only things that we're seeing are mini games. That means that these practices are too easy. There's obviously like 3/4 of the practice they're not showing us. This is like 5-minute, 10-minute clips of what happens at the very end of practice whenever there's other stuff going on. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sorry. Didn't mean to get that up. Let this be a moment where we can build team chemistry early in the off season. Like, let us try and build up that chemistry. Let the rookies get in, build leadership in those rookies. Let the culture finally have that reset that it so desperately needed after last year, and let that happen. And here's something else that's funny. 2 days later, Calvin Ridley makes this quote after being asked about it by a reporter, and he said this is the hardest training camp that he has ever done or has been a part of. That should tell you something. This dude has been in the league for multiple years. He's played under a lot of different coaches. He played under Doug Peterson. He played under Dan Quinn. He played under a lot of coaches. Arthur Smith, even, I believe. He played like 1 year under Arthur Smith. But he played under multiple of these coaches. Arthur Smith is from the Vrabel tree, and he didn't have a harder OTA, and he didn't have a harder summer training type of routine. He didn't have a harder one than Brian Callahan is setting up right now. That should tell you something. Again, I don't know why I'm so passionate about this, but it's just because I'm so tired of, these guys that go on and be like, based off of like a couple of small clips, try and talk about how something's happening. He did this last year where he nitpicked specific picks for T'Vondre Sweat about like, oh yeah, look at this clip right here. It doesn't look like he's giving too much effort. That means that he's going to be terrible, even though you would actually be able to tell that T'Vondre Sweat was definitely giving a decent amount of effort. Like, it wasn't like he was giving no effort out there. It wasn't Isaiah Wilson, that's for sure. But I don't know. I'm just really tired of seeing that stuff where we go full negative almost immediately instead of actually deciding, hey, let's take a look at this from a positive standpoint. Like, let's see this as us building culture instead of not getting us prepared for the season. Let's look at this as Brian Callahan knowing that where saving his job starts is the culture and not just creating a bunch of robots that are going to execute his scheme. Like, let us build the side of leadership and chemistry up, and then whenever we get to later in the off season, cut out the games and start actually practicing like very seriously. Okay, I 100% agree with that. But anyway, I don't know, I just had to get that little rant out of the way because, like, my gosh, it's been ridiculous. But anyway, let's get into like the actual part of this episode that most people clicked on here for, and that is the Cam Ward stuff. Okay, so again, judging by the title, you're thinking, oh no, did Cam Ward do something bad? Is he just been terrible or whatever? And I am here to clarify for you, yes. No, I'm playing. No, he has been so good so far. Like, we haven't seen like what he does in practice, again, Titans media team, but like, and we've only seen like a couple of small clips of him throwing the football, but what we have heard about him from a leadership standpoint is enough to say, hey, this guy has potential to be something great. Like, you can just tell there's a different energy around the Titans team. Like, with Calvin Ridley, this was pointed out to me, like, he's smiling a lot more. He's a lot more excited in interviews. It's the happiest that we've seen him as a Tennessee Titan. Same thing with Brian Callahan. Like, you've seen those pictures of him all smiling and cheesing whenever you barely saw that last year whenever Will Levis was the quarterback. Like, I think that the most I saw him smile was whenever he was joking around with J.C. Latham, when Latham was, making a joke about, like, are you planning to use your offensive tackle in space? And then Callan was just, do you want to give everything away now? Like, I think that was a funny interaction, first off. But second off, that was a moment where I was just thinking, that's the most I've seen him smile so far. Like, you didn't get to see that bright side of him as much last year as you did with this year. It's something minor, like, right? It's something small that you don't really think about specifically later on, but whenever you look back, you're like, oh, that should have been a sign that, like, oh yeah, he's gonna be pretty decent. And for Will Levis, it's a sign looking back, like, oh wait, he was golly, he was not ever going to be good, was he? Like, that was the sign that we saw. But anywho, another thing is that, look, okay, I know that a lot of people had their concerns about his throwing motion, his throwing mechanics. Maybe it's a little too low. Maybe he will get strip sacked a little bit more, but overall, I think his throwing mechanics are pretty good. He gets it out fast. He gets it out efficiently, again, and that is really helpful whenever you have a Titans O-line that's this meh, and whenever you have a coach like Callahan who wants to get the ball out quicker and let the receivers do the work. Like, that itself works in this system, right? And we're trying to translate some of our system from Miami's. So again, I feel like that the transition there will actually be pretty seamless compared to what people were expecting whenever we were first rumored to, like, hey, maybe we draft Cam Ward. But then, media member asks about, like, talent or scheme fit, and Callahan said, I will adjust the scheme to the more talented player. Like, that was the dead giveaway, honestly, which, like, again, shout out to that dude. I gave him flack earlier, but he does have some good moments, and that was one of them. But anyway, other vets also had praise for him. I already mentioned Calvin Ridley looking a lot more happy, but he also said good things about Cam Ward. Something else that I found notable was whenever Tony Pollard had good things to say, talking about how high energy he is, how he just came in and was just immediately like a big leader. Just he had already had that aura, if you will, and like just overall was just a really solid presence in the Titans locker room. And like, here's the thing. We've needed that for a while. Like, look, Tannehill, he had decent presence, but it wasn't like he was just like gonna take over a room immediately. That was like a Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, Big Jeff type of thing, right? Like, he was never like, those were the real like core leaders of that team. Like, I still think that Tannehill was a leader, but I don't think he was like a core leader, if you get what I mean. Like, then Mariota, he was a leader, I'll say that, but he was a silent leader, and again, he wasn't really that great. Like, he had some moments, but he was just always just kind of, then like before that, it's really hard to even remember. Zach Mettenberger, like, are we kidding? Harry Collins, Vince Young was an absolute diva. Just looking back, like, just so many bad quarterbacks in our history. The last one that we had that was truly a core leader of this team was Steve McNair. Even with his stuff off the field, which, you probably heard about that, but even with that stuff off the field, like, on the field, he was a leader. And in the locker room, he was a leader. Like, it was very solid. And then, just like, looking at this now, this is somebody that we need to be a leader. And it's also really nice to have a rookie that's doing this great so far. Back-to-back years, 3 years in a row we've had this with Skronsky, then with Latham, and now, I can't remember. Now with Cam Ward, all three of those rookies got really good praise coming out of camp. Like, again, this is something that is becoming a repeating pattern, and I'm really starting to like this repeating pattern, And, like, taking a look at other things, like, going back those past few years, Caleb Farley, I feel so bad for that guy, but he was so injured. It makes me think sometimes what would have happened with that Titans team if we would have had any of the good rookies and not Caleb Farley. Obviously, Isaiah Wilson, and then before that it was Big Jeff, so that was obviously still pretty good. But even then, he just wasn't there. He was still recovering from that injury, and he just didn't have big moments in camp because of that. And just overall, like, it's just really nice to have a rookie that is showing up and committing himself to the role of leader and the hard worker and to just really solid football player, right? And it's been really nice to have that for the past few years. But all right, anyway, I'm gonna wrap the episode up right here. Again, it's summertime. There's not as much to talk about, especially whenever we're in that weird period where it's like there is minicamp going on, so it would be weird not to talk about that. But then there's also, like, we aren't getting Jim Wyatt newsletters, so we don't really have that much to go off of. So we're in that weird, like, in-between moment, like, where it's like, I'm not completely free to do whatever I want with these episodes, but I'm also not going to be able to not going to be able to look off of Jim Wyatt's notes on practices and be able to talk about those. So anyway, yeah, that's today's episode. I have Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok all under the Titans Rundown if y'all want to go check those out. And if y'all really like this, just go ahead and hit the like button, please, for the algorithm. And if you also just like me, again, I don't know if you do, but if you do like me and you've seen some of my other content and you appreciate that, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and turn on notifications. Both sides will have a video that you would probably like most, and the other side would have a subscriber button to where you can hit the subscribe button. So now done with the shameless advertising, that's going to do it all for me. This has been a rundown of your Tennessee Titans. I love y'all, and tighten up.